Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about something I don't necessarily want to, and that is 2021, and specifically the board games in 2021 that I played. 2021 is basically just a sequel of 2020. In 2021, we had a lot of Kickstarter exclusives, canceled games, supply shortages, and limited print runs. It was kind of hard for me to get excited about games when you have so many things that will never be out in stores. Games that are printed for a so limited print run that sell out immediately, and not being able to get games in stock. That's kind of tough. So I didn't get to play too many new games, 2021 games. I did get to catch up on some 2020 games that way, as well as some modern classics. Sink my teeth into some of those. But hopefully this year I can get to play some 2021 games if they're back in stock, because it doesn't look like there's going to be any change coming, but we'll see. But I at least wanted to talk about some games that I picked up this year and I played this year. So these are all games that I bought in 2021 and played in 2021 that I enjoyed, and these are the top 10 ones. Starting with number 10, and that is a 2021 release. That is Meadow. I've talked about this game a couple times in the channel already. It is very much an engine building game where you have these little cardboard chips, and then you're placing it out around the board. So essentially what you're doing is you're drafting a card from your board, and so you're adding it to your hand and then playing a card from your hand. So it's on your turn, it's basically draft a card, play a card from your hand that matches a symbol showing on one of your cards that you have in front of you. And then you want to play as many cards as you can. Each card has a specific point value attached to it. Whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins. It's not a game for people that tend to overthink things or have analysis paralysis, but it's definitely one that if you enjoy nature, enjoy beautiful artwork, each card in this game is its own unique painting. It's its own unique piece of artwork that's really, really pretty. So it's definitely worth it if you enjoy nature themes and don't mind a little bit of a brain burner. But it's not hard to learn how to play. It's just the strategy involved in the game can be a bit much at times if you're someone that tends to take things too seriously or overthink things. But if you're not someone that has this problem, it's definitely a good game for you to try. Number 10, Meadow. Number 9 was a 2020 game that was kind of the talk of 2020. That and one other game, and it's a worker placement game called Lost Ruins of Arnak. Lost Ruins of Arnak is a CGE game. It's like an exploration kind of adventure game, sort of like Indiana Jones, where you're like archaeologists trying to get artifacts, and you place your worker to get different resources and to encounter different creatures that are in this magical world of Arnak, and you're expediting the ruins in Arnak, trying to find different artifacts, and you acquire points that way. And you can also there's also a research track in this game that gives you points and gives you additional resources that you can use for additional research and additional artifacts to acquire artifacts. So it's definitely a game where you want to do more in this game than you can actually have the workers to do it. So you have to, basically you have to maximize your output and what you're able to do with as little as possible. And so it's interesting because you get like a different experience each time. There's also an expansion that came out the end of 2021 that supposedly makes this game better, but I haven't played it yet. but I would like to do so. I've only played this solo, but if there's anyone that wants to play this, I would definitely like to dig more into this. That's Lost Ruins of Arnak. Number 8 is from the West Kingdom trilogy from 2020, and that is Viscounts, the final of the West Kingdom trilogy. I enjoy Paladins, and Architects is one of my favorite games. So obviously I had to pick this one up. So you are Viscount. You have a Viscount figure, and on your turn, you play a card in your row, and that'll tell you how many spaces you move around the board, and then you can do that specific action around the board. You'll have there's workers that you place around a rondel, sort of, and then you can also acquire resources to build as well. So that's an interesting one. That it's a little bit harder to learn than Architects. It's around Paladins level of complexity, so it's definitely not for new gamers, but it's definitely worth checking out if you're for experienced gamers, and that's Viscounts of the West Kingdom. Number 7 was a game I played with some friends recently, and that is a roll and write called On Tour. On Tour is a roll and write, flip and write game where you are organizing a tour. You either play the US map or the Europe map, and you will roll dice and reveal 3 cards, and then the dice rolled will determine which numbers you write in the regions being shown on the sheets. And then at the end of the game, you're going to want to connect. Once all the spaces are filled up, you will connect the numbers in ascending order, going from like 1 to like 99 or whatever, however you can do it. And so you definitely you have to be careful what you put where, because like one wrong number can really screw up your entire map, your route. And so it's an easy game to learn, but it's really hard to master this and really get the hang of everything. So that is On Tour. Which brings me to number 6, which is another roll and write. The last roll and write, and that is Gauntron Clever. It's another one I've talked about on other lists. It's a roll and write that's, if you like Yahtzee style games, this is just another one of those that works really, really well, where you're rolling dice and then you pick one die and you use that ability on your board. It's really fun. Gauntron Clever. All right, number 5 was the last 2021 game on my list, and that is Cascadia. Cascadia is it's a flat out game. It made here in Seattle. Has like the Seattle nature theme, where you are building out terrain in front of you. On your turn, you're drafting tile and placing that tile on your board, and then you can place an animal on that tile, and then the animals will have certain goals where they will want to be in a certain position compared to other animals, or some animals will want to be in certain terrains, or some will want to be next to another type of animal, or want to be with its own kind, like clusters of animals, and you have to finish those goals out. You want to get as many points as you can, and then whoever has the most points wins, and that's a fun one called Cascadia. Number 4 was a game I played about a month ago with some friends that are new to gaming, and that is Uwe Rosenberg's New York Zoo. So for a while you couldn't get this game, but I was just wandering around Barnes & Noble one day, and I found a copy in their board game section tucked behind some other games, and then I just immediately grabbed it. It's a fun little game that's where you are grabbing tiles, polyomino-shaped tiles, and you are filling out your board, and you win by having your entire zoo filled out. And in each tile that you grab, you have to place animals on it. There's different types of animals as depicted here on the front. And as people are grabbing tiles around the board, the animals will start to breed. And it was really funny watching the people I was playing with. They were crying, laughing, watching all their animals just breed out of control. And once they're done, once they fill up an area, you can take them off that shape, the tile shape, and you can grab a special attraction tile, which could be like a roller coaster, a concession stand, snack shack, something like that, to help you fill out your board. So it was a fun race to complete your zoo, and it was really close to. I think it was down to like the final turn or so, because everyone was so close to winning. So it was fun. It was really competitive, but it was also super relaxing at the same time, and there were lots of laughs. So New York Zoo, very fun for families as well. Number 3 is a kind of a obscure game that's been out of print for a while, but I was able to find a copy in a limited print run. And it's kind of a morbid theme, and that's The Bloody Inn. It takes place in 1830s France in like a small village. And you and your family are running an inn, so you're competing against the other players, which are your family members, and you are checking in people to the inn who are just passing through town. So you're kind of like the inn in town where people can stay for the night, and you have to decide if you want to take their 1 franc that they're going to pay you for the room for the night, or if you want to kill them in their sleep and take all their money. Because some people it's more beneficial to kill them and take all their money versus actually letting them survive, live through the night, check out, and get the franc for the room that you rented out. But you also have to be careful, because every time you want to kill someone, or you also have to be able to bury them before the cops show up. So sometimes we'll have cops that will come in and they will stay the night, and when they wake up in the morning, they always checked the rooms of the inn to make sure that there's no bodies laying around. So you have to, if you have cops staying there for the night, you have to make sure that you've buried all your bodies before they wake up. So sometimes you'll have to kill the cops, sometimes you'll kill people that are more rich, but also you have to recruit other guests to your criminal empire, so you have to bribe them, so that costs money to bribe them. You also have to pay your other guests to help you bury the bodies, because you can't do everything yourself. So it's an interesting kind of puzzle, and it's a card game that works really well if you don't mind the morbid theme, like the Bates Motel, like an ancient Bates Motel sort of thing, The Bloody Inn. Number 2 is another game I've talked about quite a lot, and that is a 2020 game that I wasn't able to get till about January, February, because it was kickstarted, and they did a very, very short print run of it. I actually was searching everywhere online for it at the beginning of the year because I wanted a copy of this so bad. And I actually ended up tracking down a single copy from a store in New Orleans, and they had it shipped to me. And that is Calico. It is a quilt game where you are drafting tiles and putting it in your board, which is a dual layer. It's a really nice dual layer player board. And then you're playing different colors, so you're matching different colors, and you're matching different designs. So colors, if you match 3 of a kind together, you get to place a button, and that gives you bonus points. You also can match patterns which a certain number of patterns in a row will attract a cat to come lay on your quilt, and that'll give you a certain number of points equal to which cat it is. Each different cats will be worth a certain number of points, and you'll also have goals where you'll want to have your tiles around that, surrounding that goal, be all of the same kind of color or certain pattern, or you'll have to have a certain number of this type of color or pattern and a certain color or pattern of a different type of pattern. So that's kind of interesting. So it's a lot of thinking, and it can be quite competitive with people grabbing when you're waiting for your turn and you're like, please don't take this tile, please don't take this tile, and they take this tile, take the tile that you were just about to grab, and it's so frustrating. And then you're forced to take a tile that you don't necessarily want. So there can be some strategy. There can also be some people foiling your plans. But it's a fun little puzzle that you're trying to work out on your own. And so you don't... So there's no like community board where everyone's playing from. Everyone's playing their own quilt, their own board, and whoever has the most points at the end wins. So that's always fun, and it can really get your brain work in too. So, and it also has a good solo mode as well, and that's Calico. And number 1 was a game I wasn't going to get because it was a Euro game, and it was looking like it was going to be something that was super hard, but we got to play it and it was super fun, and that is Grand Austria Hotel. So where you are running a cafe that doubles as a inn, so as a hotel room. So you have to get different, so you'll have guests to your cafe, you will grab a guest, they will be different people that come in to the city, and they come sit down. You'll have 3 tables so you have to, and they will sit there until you fulfill their order. And once you have them eat, then you have to have a room available. So you have to have rooms built. So you're building your hotel as the game progresses, and you're rolling dice, and you have to choose which, and certain dice will allocate to different actions, and that will determine which you get to use. So it's interesting. It's hard to really explain without actually showing you the game, but you want to be the one that has the most money at the end of the game, the most points at the end of the game, and that is Grand Austria Hotel. So that is my top 10 games that I purchased and bought in 2021. I hope that was helpful. If you enjoyed this list, please drop a like, and if you have not already, subscribe, and hope to see you in another video. Bye.